All around the world, a mysterious tower appeared, and everyone who came out of the building became wealthy. Si-jun also desires to enter the tower, but when he did, he is left alone in a hidden area with only a few seeds. He now needs to plant crops, gather resources, and plan a strategy for surviving the tower. In the middle of a forest with large rocks hovering over a path, a group of people are gathered in the area. Someone called out to the humans, and when everyone looks over to see who called them, it was a cat. A talking cat. It's like the cat in My Talking Tom. It was carrying a sack on its shoulder while asking if the humans are interested in some good stuff. The cat is known as a wandering merchant cat. Everyone gathered and asked what it was selling as others appreciated its cuteness. Cherry tomatoes were distributed by the wandering merchant cat. The guy was expecting a legendary weapon or mysterious potion, so he hands it over to a female mage. The other person also stated that they can eat the cherry tomato anytime they want, pointing at them. The wandering merchant cat called the humans foolish and that the cherry tomato is different from the others. He then instructed them to check the window status. They were surprised it was an item and checked the status. It is called a magical cherry tomato, which increases by 0.1 MP for 10 minutes. She mumbled it was too low, but another female read the status and shouted out that it can lose 10 grams of fats just by eating it. I also need that. She was so surprised and asked if it was possible. The wandering merchant cat answered yes, and it was only for 0.5 tower coins each. Everyone hurriedly gathered to purchase the item. Some asked for 200 pieces, the others are 250 and 500. Someone even wanted to buy everything even if it means paying more. A man asked the cat where he was able to get the magical cherry tomato and who made the item. The wandering merchant cat answered that it was a secret. Look at it hugging the loot, so cute. In a garden where the magical cherry tomato was being planted, Si-jun was picking up the item. He told the rabbit who was carrying a cart of magical cherry tomatoes that it was enough. He called out to the other rabbit that it was time for rest. Si-jun squeezed the magical cherry tomato into a tumbler and asked the bee to add more honey to it. It is snuggling the MC's cheeks. Too much cuteness. The bee added more honey, and Si-jun shake it like a bartender and drank the juice while the rabbit drinks their carrot. Look at their posture. Si-jun held up his tumbler and declared that this is how life is supposed to be. He drank the honey-mixed cherry tomato juice, a vitality drink. A pop notification appeared saying that he should distribute the honey water to the managers of the tower. There was no compensation, and rejection would lead to disappointment. Si-jun was about to reason out, but the word disappointment was highlighted. He has no choice but to do it. The wandering merchant cat arrived while calling Si-jun as Master Si-jun and informed him he was back. He jumped to Si-jun to catch him, saying that was quick and he did a good job. All of the animals are cuddling him. I am jealous. Si-jun called the wandering merchant cat Employee T. Employee T showed all the coins he got and that he was able to sell out everything. Si-jun complimented him, saying he should let Employee T become a CEO for an hour. Si-jun also added that it's only a matter of time before his name would be known to everyone. Employee T shrieked out, saying it was not the time to fool around and that he should leave after eating. He wants to earn more money. Si-jun informed Employee T he can rest for a while. Employee T asks Black Rabbit to replenish the supplies by calling out to him. Employee T developed an addiction to money, according to Si-jun. He grabbed a stone and wrote it on a wall, almost forgetting about it. He mentioned that it's been 150 days while looking at the wall. Park Si-jun received the class as Tower Farmer. Black Rabbit jumped on his shoulder, so he asked him if he was also done. Employee T also jumped on his other shoulder, saying he will also help a little. It's been 150 days since Si-jun entered the tower and got lost. With a black knife in his hand, while looking at the field of crops, he announced they will begin. The animals are his workers, and all of them are so adorable. He highlighted that this story is about how he survived getting lost in the tower. 10 years ago, a 99-floored black tower appeared in the middle of Gangnam and other places of the world. A total of 100 towers appeared at the same time. Each country investigated the tower, but they only found out that the tower was 990 meters high, and it is made up of an incredibly strong material that even nuclear bombs can't perforate. One day, people started to come out of the tower through the wall. The media are really fast. The reporter asked the people how they were able to get inside the tower. They answered that they suddenly got sucked into a black hole, and when they woke up, they are already on the tower's first floor. All 100 towers are connected to one. Once inside the tower, the person will be awakened on the first floor. Then, they have to pick one role, which is either a magician or a warrior. The monsters start to show up on the second floor. Every time a floor is clear, the person would get different rewards. With a high chance, they would be able to receive a ticket. One journalist asked what it is. The returner further explained that it was an item. People who are awakened can get in and out of the tower freely, but ordinary people need the ticket to get inside of the tower. Still, only the awakened can climb up the tower. The journalist asked another question, if there would be people who would go to such a scary tower with monsters, and if the awakened knows why the tower was generated. True. I don't think people would risk going inside the tower, right? He answered that he was still unsure why the power was generated, but he does know one thing. Signaling at the female holding the box, she opened it and poured out all of the gold and jewels. He further explains that they are sure that going up the tower will get them money. I changed my mind. I want to enter the tower too. It was then broadcasted on the news that the Awakened Association would raise the price of Black Tower tickets to 200 million won from 150 million next week. Hundreds of people are waiting to buy the ticket before the price hike. A cashier watching the news commented that the world is going crazy, that people are risking their lives to earn money, but they need 200 million won for that. She thinks it was too much and asked the man about his thought. He can only laugh and agree with her. Park Si-joon is an ordinary student at this time and is currently 26. On his way home, he started to calculate his money and that his current saving is 12 million won at most. He was worried as to when he would be able to buy a ticket since the price is increasing again. He asked himself if he would be able to buy a ticket. But you agree with the cashier a few moments ago. He mumbled it was tiring but immediately snapped out and cheered himself up. A perfect representation of me cheering myself with my math lessons. That there should be some way to save up more money. Si-joon paid an affordable price for the vegetables and was debating whether or not to try planting them because he had heard that the price had gone up. He remembered that his favorite member of the Moonlight Fairy named Sarah was also on a commercial for growing vegetables. Because of that, he was then motivated to save up as much as possible to buy the ticket. He was hoping that someone would notice his talent and invite him to join a good guild. To clear the tower, that is what he wanted to do. If that ever occurred, he pictured himself being on the news as he proposed to Sura, a member of Korea's top idol group Moonlight Fairy. The idea motivated him more as he cheers himself up, not noticing the black hole behind him. When it was already huge, Si-joon looked at his back and screamed, vanishing, the phenomenon that sucked in the first generation of the Awakened. He was excited that it appears to take him and proudly stated his name and that he was ready to risk his life to climb the tower. He commanded the black hole to take him in. A second-hand embarrassment if someone was there and saw him. There was no response to the tower and it became smaller instead. The black hole is uninterested in the MC. Si-joon demanded the black hole to take him, but it was becoming smaller and smaller. He wasn't going to waste an opportunity like this. So Si-joon decided to run to the black hole instead so he can go to the tower. He landed face first to the ground and grumbled in pain as he looked up to know if he gets inside the tower. He yelled out the fancy chandeliers and marbles, that he's in the first floor plaza, that it was complete with equipment and potion. As he fully adjusted to his surrounding, he realized what he saw was a mistake. He was surrounded with rocks and the light came from the hole above him. He yelled out where the hell he was. It seems like MC is inside a huge hole. Meanwhile, in a black tower, a dragon stares at the crystal ball that is giving a signal. It seems like there was a change in the tower. Since the dragon is the manager of the tower, he needs to find the cause of the change. Which is the MC, of course. An interviewer asked an Awakened what kind of place is the Black Tower. She replied that it was a very spacious and shiny palace. They can purchase a lot of items in the tower and most of the time she would buy potions. Another Awakened said the training ground is the most important thing on the first floor. To survive in the tower, one must be strong enough to fight the monster. That is what the Awakened would say. But in Si-joon's case, he was inside a hole that looks like a cave. He already roamed the cave for a whole day, but he didn't see any exit. Even the training ground and the store that was mentioned were nowhere to be found. He even tried screaming for help, but it was hopeless. There was no one around. Worriedly, Si-joon thought if he got lost. Poor MC, this is far from his expectations. He started to laugh like he was going crazy when his phone alarm rang. It's been a day since he stayed in the cave. There was no network, but he was sure the alarm is accurate. His stomach growled and Si-joon uttered he was hungry. He checked the food he purchased in the real world. He got a bottle of water, 27 cherry tomatoes, 10 green onions, 7 pumpkin sweet potatoes, and 1 washed apple. He decided to eat the apple first. The apple tasted sweet, and he said eating an apple in the morning is the best. Devouring the whole apple, he decided to eat one of the potatoes. He commented on how tasty it was, the chewing texture, and the crunching feeling, the sweet taste. It was more delicious than he expected. On my way to grab me some pumpkin sweet potatoes. They always cook the pumpkin sweet potato, but Sijun murmured that it's also fine to eat it sometimes raw. He choked up on the food and drank some water right away. He claimed it to be a good meal while he lay on the big rock. He pondered how long he would remain there as he continued to stare at the hole. He needs to find a solution quickly because he is unsure of how long his food will survive. In addition, he also believed that if he couldn't be saved, he would turn into a mummy. Realizing what he was thinking, he immediately encouraged himself by telling himself that he had finally entered the tower of his dreams and that he shouldn't perish in this manner. I am still amazed at how he can cheer himself that fast. He saw the apple seed and decided to plant it. He dug a hole to bury it. Same with the 10 green onions. He used the leaves as food and planted the root part. Additionally, he planted 3 tomatoes and 2 sweet potatoes. The remains would be his food. He would do anything to survive, and he will wait until all of the plants will grow, saying it's his future. Unexpectedly, he heard a loud noise. He was looking around since it sounds like a monster, and he thought that no monster should exist on the first floor. When he looked up, he saw the blue moon. The loud sound of the monster was heard once more, and Sijun trembled as he sat on the ground. As he looks up, he saw a black dragon flying. Don't tell me it's the same black dragon. Before he can finish saying the word that it was beautiful, he fell unconscious. Some powder fell into his crops. When his alarm went off, he realized that he had already been unconscious for 2 full days. He sat down once more since his back hurt from his rapid movements. He complained that he was so exhausted and that he had no more energy. He peered behind him, thinking he saw a tree, but it was green onions. He was surprised by how large it had grown in just 2 days and assumed that being in the tower must be the cause of the sudden growth. He still remembers watching a video about how a plant's shape may vary based on its environment. The green onion may have been impacted by the tower's power. Checking on the other seed if it was the same, he saw 52 sprouts growing. He decided to remove the leaves of the green onion so that the sprouts would get enough sunlight. Struggling with cutting down the leaves, he didn't expect it would be that hard to remove them. As he finished harvesting, he was curious about its taste, so he decided to take a bite of the green onion. It was so spicy that he immediately ran to the nearby pond. The flavor had an extra kick of spice compared to the original, yet it caused no discomfort in his stomach. Look at his lips. He decided to eat it when he wants something spicy and that he will get used to it. He dried the other green onions on the rock as he ate some of the cherry tomatoes. The sun doesn't set in the tower, but occasionally, the sun gets hidden behind the moon on each floor. The phenomenon is called the blue moon. The blue moon looks beautiful. The blue moon only happens on the 10th floor, so Sijun disregards the idea that he was on the first floor. The dragon he saw was an illusion. 10 years ago, when the tower appeared, one of the major guilds named Phoenix Guild achieved clearing the 37th floor. Information from the 30th to 37th floor is top secret because of the other guild. However, information about floors below 30 can be found on YouTube. The 2nd to 10th floors have skeleton soldiers, the 11th to 20th floors have goblins, and the 21st to 30th floors have orcs. There are also rumors that spider monsters are on the 31st floor. There were no mentions of dragons, and Sijun didn't hear anything about some lizard. He was confused as to what floor he currently was. Sijun theorized that maybe he got lost on a floor that even the top-ranked hunter hasn't reached. A droplet of water fell onto his face, so he thought it was raining when originally the tower has good weather most of the time. When he looked up, he saw something moving, so he thought it was a monster. It was a rabbit, and Sijun was wondering if it is a monster too. It is drooling. Don't tell me those droplets are saliva. The rabbit jumped down to the rabbit hole, and Sijun hurriedly reached out his arm to save the rabbit. It landed on his head and went to the planted green onion. Sijun thought it was no ordinary rabbit. The rabbit pointed to the green onion, and Sijun asked if it wanted to eat it. The rabbit answered like it was saying yes. He grabbed a leaf and gave it to the rabbit. The two of them are eating the lead, and he told the rabbit to eat more since he has a lot of it. Sijun realized the green onion grew so much and he needs to harvest them twice a day. The rabbit happily called out to something, and Sijun was confused. Another rabbit came and is wearing a gardening apron, giving the other rabbit a watering can and a gardening hat. They looked like gardening rabbits. Sijun asked if the rabbits are married, and they replied like they were saying yes. That day, a couple of rabbits joined Sijun in the cave. The rabbits were singing happily as they tended to Sijun's garden as he sat on the rock. Singing happily, the rabbits did their task, and Sijun commended that they are a great couple, but also wondered how it became like this. Flashback. The rabbits were asking Sijun if they can live in the cave with him. He was surprised by their requests as they begged him earnestly. Look at those cute faces. Sijun couldn't resist their cuteness, but he told them there is nothing free. If they will help him with the farm, then he would think about it. He instructed that all they need to do is cut the green onion, and the rabbit tackled him in a hug. He immediately told them to stop being cute and touching him with their soft hair because he might take them in. No one can resist their cuteness. Si-jun felt he was being controlled. He was curious about what the rabbits are holding and asked if those were items. The spray bottle that the husband rabbit is using has unlimited water coming out of it. Meanwhile, the wife rabbit pockets contain all the farming tools that she needs. It is either Doraemon's pocket or Dora's bag. Si-jun commented that he also wished to have such equipment. The rabbits called out to him because they are done. He went to observe their work and told them to dry the green onions they cut. There weren't any changes in the sweet potatoes, while the cherry tomatoes have a bigger sprout. The plants were growing quickly, so he wondered if it is because of the rabbits. He looked at the rabbits who were waiting for his decision. Look at them holding their hands together while waiting. Too cute. Si-jun agreed to let them stay in the cave, and the two of them cheered happily. The two of them run into a corner while talking to each other while Si-jun was confused with their actions. The husband rabbit starts to dig with his shovel while the wife rabbit was making a flower crown. She then placed it on their newly made door for their house. The husband rabbit looks like he's going to faint. Si-jun couldn't help but compliment the husband rabbit for making the house that fast. Then, the wife rabbit dragged the husband rabbit, who was struggling, to their new home. Si-jun can only cheer on the husband rabbit while thinking he invited him. I did not expect this situation. Go wife rabbit. Si-jun stated he was grateful to the rabbits for helping him and letting him see some cute things as he returned to his rock because being alone was getting boring. He was laying on the green onion when it suddenly got burned and his back feels hot, jumping out in pain. He was crying out why it was so hot. He looked at the stone and saw the plastic bottle. The light going through the bottle is burning the green onion. Si-jun got an idea and thought about how rough the environment in the Black Tower was. But he did not lose any hope, and he had his dried green onions in a plastic of bottled water. What happened to his face? Following what he saw in episode 1 of Surviving in the Wild, a series on YouTube, he uses his transparent bottle as a converging lens to start a fire. It was only smoking, but it doesn't catch any fire. He sighs while asking what's wrong with it since he was sure it was the way to start a fire. The smoke starts to ignite a little because of his sigh. When the rabbit went out with the husband rabbit looked all tired. They saw Si-jun breathing out into something, so they went to his side. Si-jun then asked for their help if they can blow some wind on the leaves. While the rabbits are blowing, Si-jun was begging the fire would start. Thankfully, it worked. Cooking the green onion with the fire, Si-jun checked if it was enough before peeling the burned part. After that, he ate the cooked green onion and started shaking. The rabbits were confused. The flavor was sweet and the sugar-like sweetness is rushing through Si-jun's head. He described that it was like his youth is like a wild green horse running in a wide field. Si-jun continued cooking while saying it was delicious. The rabbits decided to try it out and cook some green onions too. They also were mesmerized by the flavor. Si-jun told them to eat more, and Si-jun notated in his diary of getting lost that he was finally able to fill his stomach with warm food and went to sleep. Si-jun stretched his body as he washes his face on the pond. His crops are now growing. The green onion harvesting is complete while watering the cherry tomatoes and sweet potatoes is done. Si-jun feels good about it. A lot of things happened. After learning how to make fire, they used the green onions as torches around the cave so he can roam the cave easily. They installed a torch around the pond since the area is dark. While installing, a fish jumped out of the pond, trying to bite the fire. By the fire, Si-jun managed to avoid the fish as the fish landed on the ground. It seems like the fish is attracted to the light. He cooked the fish with fire and he commented it was delicious. The rabbits called out to him and he asked if they also eat meat. The drooling faces. They nodded. Si-jun thought maybe it was because they are monsters, so they eat meat. The blue moon showed up again and Si-jun learned that the phenomenon occurs every 30 days. He used the laptop and power bank to charge his phone and keep track of the date. It also reached its limit. When he couldn't use his phone anymore, that is when he started to carve the wall to know how many days it has been. It has been a total of 61 days, since the rabbit goes to bed at exactly 7 p.m. and wakes up at 5 a.m. Si-jun uses their body clock pattern to count the days since the tower has a never-setting sun. A few days ago, something good happened. The husband rabbit went out of their home and Si-jun greeted him. The baby rabbits rushed out of the house and tackled Si-jun down with a hug. Congratulations to the couple rabbits for having babies. Si-jun calls himself the baby rabbit's uncle and asks them if they miss him. Since the couple rabbit couldn't sleep because they need to take care of the baby rabbit, Si-jun volunteered to take care of the baby rabbits so they can take a break while eating breakfast. Si-jun carried the baby rabbits and went to the cherry tomatoes so they can look at its flower. The rabbits ran around the area. since the flower started blooming and has become a flower garden. Pollination is needed so it can bear fruit, so they need to do artificial pollination one by one. Si-jun grumbled his backache after doing it the whole day. He stated it would be great if a bee would come over, but it would be greedy for him to expect that. The baby rabbit put its face on the flower and sneezes. Too much cuteness on this panel. Si-jun informed the baby rabbit not to breathe in the pollen when he noticed a fruit was growing. After a long work, they were finally going to have some fruit. It was a day before the blue moon. Si-jun put out the fire with water and hid a fire between the stones. He wrapped himself with leaves as camouflage and warmth. The rabbit family went inside their home as Si-jun told them it is almost time and that they will see again after they survive. Survive what? Si-jun assured the husband rabbit that a blue moon is a piece of cake. The blue moon came and Si-jun was in a corner. He was tired waiting for it to end. He already hid all things that smelled and has been hiding in the corner waiting for the blue moon to end. But he doesn't know how many hours have passed and every minute feels like an hour. Si-jun keeps hearing noises from afar, but it's enough for him to tremble. He hopes it would end without anything bad happening. He heard a loud noise and Si-jun asked what it was. A giant red bear-like monster hovers at the cave entrance. Its fangs are scary. It still hasn't noticed Si-jun, so he decided to move to a better hiding spot before he would be seen. He needs to move as quietly and slowly as possible. Unfortunately, the zipper of his bag was open and its content starts falling on the ground. Why did you forget to zip your bag? Si-jun was sweating so bad, and as he looked up, the monster was already staring at him. He yelled in fear as the monster growled. Si-jun was laying on the ground as the family rabbit surrounded him, trying to wake him up. Si-jun thought it was his mom and said later. The husband rabbit slapped Si-jun to wake him up. His face when he slapped Si-jun though. Si-jun woke up and asked what just happened and what happened to the blue moon. He looked outside and saw that it was already done. Si-jun realized he passed out and said his body hurts. He asked what happened and remembered the monster. It was staring at him and leaning on the entrance of the cave. Si-jun fainted from the monster's growl. He almost got killed by a monster. Si-jun trembled as he said it was cold. Hurriedly, the wife rabbit prepares the fire so Si-jun can warm himself. Using the leaves, he made it into a blanket. Look at the baby rabbit sleeping beside him. Wife rabbit gave Si-jun a freshly cooked fish and he thanked her before eating it. The monster noticed the place, but Si-jun wasn't sure why he wasn't attacked. He theorized that maybe it felt the presence of another monster or maybe it can't reach him because the cave's hole is small. One thing is for sure, there is no guarantee that Si-jun would be safe if the same thing will happen next time. He was lucky this time, but he could end up dead. Si-jun cursed that he worked so hard to survive this far. He did. He went a long way in surviving inside the cave. He thought that what he can do to survive is to eat well. Husband rabbit calls out Si-jun. They went to the garden and saw the cherry tomato were already as big as a golf ball. Si-jun observed the fruits because it was so pretty when he noticed a fruit that is colored blue. He picked it up to check if it was ripe when a pop notification appeared. It states that Si-jun completed the quest to harvest a fruit that contains the energy of the blue moon. Si-jun screamed out that the pop notification was a message window. It shows another message that his achievement has attracted the attention of the tower manager. Another follow-up message said that the tower manager is keeping an eye on Si-jun and that he wasn't happy. Wait, if I remember correctly, the tower manager is the Black Dragon, right? Si-jun was confused why he wasn't happy. The message window state that the tower manager discovered Si-jun wasn't a duly invited guest and it wants to hide its blunder. Reading the message, Si-jun asked if it was a mistake for him to end up in the tower. Si-jun was furious because he was already living in the tower for 61 days and was just told now that his coming to the tower was a mistake. He screamed out he wanted to go home. The message window read that the tower manager is thinking if he should kill Si-jun to remove evidence. It was your mistake in the first place. Tower manager. Si-jun finds it unfair because he unlocked an achievement and instead of receiving a reward, the tower manager was planning to kill him. The tower manager was speechless, so Si-jun thought if he was too rude. The tower manager decided to awaken Si-jun. He is getting awakened. Si-jun was surprised that he was getting awakened and asked for confirmation if he was finally going to be an official awaken of the tower. He asked what his job would be. If he was going to be a swordsman, or if he will be a wizard since he is smart. Si-jun was curious about what his job would be as the tower manager was assigning him. The tower manager decided to assign him as a tower farmer with an F rank. Is the perfect job for our MC. He was speechless with the job he acquired. Due to his job, Si-jun won't get sick and will be close to nature. He will also gain experience points when harvesting crops. Si-jun complained about why farmer and what the tower manager meant by a farmer. He meant a literal farmer MC. He opened his status window and shows he is level 1 with ordinary talent. All of his stats are in 1 with no skill. His job is the tower farmer. Si-jun couldn't believe it. That was his status window. The ordinary talent was catching his attention. He imagines himself in a late-night talk show. He would be introduced as a special guest who cleared the tower despite having an ordinary talent. Later on, he would be asked what his job is, and he will say the tower farmer. It sounds pathetic, but the rose background makes it look better. Si-jun yelled out that he doesn't need to be 1 and was about to throw the blue cherry tomato when he saw the family rabbit. He snapped out of his tantrum and stares at the blue cherry tomato. He realized they all work hard to grow it together. Si-jun decided to keep working as a farmer. He looks at the blue cherry tomato and a message window popped out about the item. The name of the item is Magical Cherry Tomatoes, imbued with the energy of the blue moon. It reads that a cherry tomato cultivated in the tower is nutritious and tasty, but the one with the energy of the blue moon tastes even better. If consumed, it permanently increases by 0.05 MP, and Si-jun's name was written as the cultivator and the item is E rank. He was surprised that the cherry tomato was an item. He states that it's minuscule, but it increases the stats. Si-jun was happy and complimented himself for growing something amazing, and the family bunny also cheered for him. Meanwhile, the tower manager wasn't happy with the outcome. Stop being bitter. You're the one who made the mistake. He triggered a quest for Si-jun. As Si-jun and the family rabbit were celebrating, a message window popped out. Si-jun read out the quest. It was to offer the fruit containing the energy of the blue moon to the tower manager. The reward would be a job-related skill. If he refuses, the penalty is death. Hey, isn't that too much? Si-jun couldn't believe that the penalty is death and thought it was a joke. The message window reads the quest where Si-jun needs to offer the fruit containing the energy of the blue moon to the tower manager. He would get a job-related skill in exchange, and if he refuses, his punishment is death. Si-jun pointed at the quest, saying that the tower manager is calling it a quest, but it is a blackmail. Yes, I am with you, MC. He stated that the tower manager can ask for 1 instead and don't act like he is giving Si-jun some options. Rumbling about the penalty, Si-jun asked how worthless a life form to the tower manager is. But Si-jun cannot ignore the penalty of death, so he has no other choice but to offer it to the tower manager. He also pleaded to spare his life. Poor MC. The message window shows that he has completed the quest, and he can open the quest reward. Si-jun realized that it was mentioned in the quest about a job-related skill. He forgot about it because he was focusing on the death penalty, and he said that the tower manager is pretty generous. He opened his quest reward to see what job-related skill it would be. Si-jun obtained the sowing level 1, wherein it slightly increased the chance of germination when a seed is planted. He was devastated by the skill because he just realized once more that his job is a tower farmer. With a torch in his hand, Si-jun went to the pond to catch some fish. Using the light from the torch as bait, he hit the fish the moment it went out of the water. The fish landed on the ground, and when the message window shows up, the fish was a piranha. Yikes. By killing the piranha, Si-jun earned 2 experience points. It was already the 5th piranha, so he earned 10 experience points from it. He was able to obtain experience points after he was awakened. After catching piranha for a few days to survive, he was able to reach level 2. Our MC is finally leveling up. Si-jun wanted to catch more piranha, but he thinks it is not a good idea to kill something without any reason. Piranha is a good supply for Si-jun's protein, so he shouldn't dry them out. Someone, like the tower manager, should learn a thing or two from our MC. Si-jun came back with a handful of cooked piranha as he called the rabbit family, and it was time for them to eat. The baby rabbit is so cute. They are the highlight here. He told them to take their time eating and that they have started eating a lot after growing a little. Si-jun also told the babies to leave some for their mom and dad. At the same time, Si-jun was able to get some information about the rabbits. He handed the couple rabbit their share of cooked piranha. The true identity of the rabbit is the farmer white rabbit. They are the type of monster that Si-jun never heard about outside the tower. Based on their name, the rabbits specialize in farming and not fighting. Well, obviously, that must be also the reason why they are not known yet. Si-jun wasn't sure what happened with the rabbit before they met. He assumed that maybe they lost their farm, roamed around the area, and ended up at Si-jun's cave. He's also not sure if they have a hometown they can return to. Si-jun wished he could understand what the rabbits are saying. He then told the rabbit they should head to the farm because it is an important day for them. The rabbits agree with Si-jun. On the farm, everyone was amazed with all the fruits that has grown. It was time for them to harvest the fruits they worked to grow, because the ones they obtained on the blue moon didn't count, because they offered it to the tower manager. Si-jun and the rabbit started their harvest. He slowly reached out to the cherry tomato while everyone was waiting in anticipation. As he picked a piece, Si-jun was happy with his first cherry tomato because it ripened so well. A message window pops out. It shows that he obtained a well-ripe magical cherry tomato and his job experience point slightly increased. He also obtained 10 experience points. When he read the item's name, which is the magical cherry tomato, he wondered if it is the same item he got before. He checked the status window. The magical cherry tomato that he just made decomposes 10 grams of fats and increases by 0.1 MP for 10 minutes while giving energy. It has a maximum of 10 effects that can be stacked at the same time with a maximum duration of 1 hour. This is the same cherry tomato introduced in Chapter 1, right? Although the effect only lasted for 10 minutes, Si-jun calculated that if 10 of the cherry tomatoes were eaten at the same time, it can increase the MP by 1 point. He was curious if the other tomatoes are the same. Si-jun starts grabbing the other magical cherry tomatoes. He accidentally grabbed the wrong cherry tomato, which is still unripe, so his job experience points didn't increase. He obtained 7 experience points from it, though. The cherry tomato was also not an item, but an ordinary cherry tomato. For Si-jun to get an item, it must harvest a well-ripe cherry tomato. It was harder than he thought. Si-jun leveled up as he obtained 1 bonus stat. He was now at level 4, and he decided it should be enough for now. If I were him, I would continue to harvest and level up like crazy. Si-jun decided to have a taste when the rabbits stopped him. Look at their faces, so adorable. He immediately apologized and also offered them the cherry tomatoes since they did the work together. They should also eat together. Si-jun stated that they should celebrate the successful harvest of the cherry tomatoes. They all ate together and Si-jun was surprised with the taste. It was like he was teleported somewhere in a grassy field while staring at the starry sky, and there were fireworks, the fresh scent of grass, and the sweet and sour taste that is melting with the scent. It is like fireworks in the middle of summer. This is giving me food anime vibes. His eyes were closed with some tears, and Si-jun mumbled the word summer. Meanwhile, the wife rabbit was pointing at Si-jun, asking her husband what happened to him. The husband rabbit just shrugs while eating. So dramatic MC. The baby rabbits gathered all of the harvests as the husband and wife rabbit created storage for them to store the food. Si-jun watches them from afar as he commented that the baby rabbits are now big enough to help their mom and dad. He also added that they are indeed children of the farmer white rabbit. He was getting sleepy, so Si-jun decided to sleep, and he put on his sleeping mask made out of leaves. For real, those leaves are really helpful. He also commended himself for doing a great job. He was in the middle of his sleep when a quest arrived, and that is to offer 100 magical cherry tomatoes to the tower manager. The reward is a job-related skill with death as its penalty for refusal. Si-jun didn't check the quests, so it decided to ring as loud as it could to wake him up. Immediately, Si-jun offered 100 magical cherry tomatoes, and the tower manager was satisfied. Si-jun grumbled that he keeps being forced to do things, and he hopes he would be given something useful this time. He opened the quest reward, and he obtained the harvest level 1. Harvesting fruits are obtained in optimum condition even if it is slightly overripe or underripe. Si-jun complained about why he needed harvesting skills. Because you are a farmer. But Si-jun realized that the skill was more useful than he thought. It was an effect that activates whenever he harvests a slightly unripe or overripe fruit. It would perfect the fruit to optimal condition, and Si-jun can receive job experience points even when he harvested unripe magical cherry tomatoes. He no longer needs to wait for the cherry tomatoes to ripen, so it made his job easier and faster for him. He was about to take some rest with the rabbit when another quest appeared. It was to offer 200 magical cherry tomatoes to the tower manager, but this time, it has no reward. Si-jun was already expecting the quest and called the tower manager a thief since there was no reward. But because the last skill he obtained helped Si-jun, he decided to offer the 200 magical cherry tomatoes. Husband Rabbit was surprised though. It was only the beginning since the tower manager starts giving quests. It was 250 magical cherry tomatoes with a job-related skill. It started to become greedier because it went up to 300 magical cherry tomatoes. Si-jun complained because the number was increasing. The tower manager then gave a quest which is to offer 500 magical cherry tomatoes without reward. That is so greedy of you. It is unfair. Si-jun was pissed and immediately refused the request. The tower manager was surprised because that was the first time Si-jun rebelled against him. Yes, fight for your rights. Seeing the quest, which is to offer 500 magical cherry tomatoes to the tower manager without reward, pisses Si Jun. He complained that the tower manager had already taken hundreds of them earlier. They'd also need to eat to stay alive, so the tower manager was being too much. Go and tell him how horrible he is. The tower manager replied that it is no longer his problem but Si Jun's, and he needs to stop protesting and bring the magical cherry tomatoes. He explained to the tower manager that he worked and suffered for days just to harvest those magical cherry tomatoes. The tower manager says he has only sown the seeds and you shouldn't overreact over something that is not a big deal. Not a big deal. Go get him, MC. Si Jun snapped when he heard that, and he refused to give the tower manager the magical cherry tomatoes. The tower manager was flustered by Si Jun's response. He asked Si Jun if he was sure about refusing the request, but Si Jun continued with his work. He also pointed out that Si Jun will die if refuse it. Si Jun ignored him and focused on cooking. The tower manager highlighted that Si Jun will die, so Si Jun responded that he didn't want to give the crops to someone who says all he did was sow the seeds. Yes, do not give him anything. The tower manager said that it was Si Jun's job as a farmer, and since he is the tower manager, Si Jun should listen to his orders. Si Jun sighs before responding that the tower manager is forcing him to do things without even appreciating all the efforts he made. The tower manager also compensates him a little for the exploitation. Si Jun dropped the bomb by saying that the tower manager was a bad employer. Surprised, the tower manager was speechless. You should realize that you are at fault here. He was about to apologize to Si Jun, but he saw him in his crystal ball, eating the magical cherry tomato, as if teasing him. The tower manager angrily told Si Jun he will kill him right now if he would not do the quest, since Si Jun ate the magical cherry tomatoes by himself. Si Jun offered 5 pieces and said he will give the rest later. He still needs to feed the others as he watched the baby rabbit fighting over a magical cherry tomato. Look at what you did, tower manager. The tower manager compromised and took the 5 magical cherry tomatoes as Si Jun thanked him. Si Jun was sure it was trying to apologize a moment ago. Si Jun smiled while saying that the tower manager is simpler than he thought. Day 91 after getting lost was the 4th blue moon. He was covered with his blanket made out of leaves while eating a cherry tomato as he hides in the corner. Si Jun heard that people with high MP can withstand the roar of a monster to a certain level, which is why he is eating a magical cherry tomato. He thought it would be best if what happened last time would not happen again. Si Jun wished time would pass by quickly. The blue moon illuminates Si Jun's crops, and he was surprised when one of the magical cherry tomatoes turned into blue. He was excited to harvest it, and he also saw the light illuminates the sweet potato leaves. He can no longer wait, and he needs to check it. Rushing to the sweet potato leaves, Si Jun dug it out and was amazed by the results. The item was a sweet potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. The energy of the blue moon made it tastier, and when consumed, it will increase the strength. 0.05 MP increase permanently. Since Si Jun harvested a sweet potato with the energy of a blue moon, his job experience points have increased by a great deal. His harvest level also maxed out and will level. He also obtained 50 experience points. Si Jun also saw the blue-colored magical cherry tomato and picked it. He was so happy while holding the item. He compares it to having the world in both of his arms. Just then, he received a quest that he was already expecting. There are 2 quests from the tower manager, and both of them needs to offer the magical cherry tomato containing the energy of the blue moon and the sweet potatoes containing the energy of the blue moon. Both have no reward, with death as the punishment for refusal. Si Jun thought the tower manager might kill him if he refuses the quest, since the tower manager is going strong this time. Look at all those exclamations marks at the death. So Si Jun offered the remaining magic cherry tomatoes to finish his last quest instead. The tower manager was happy when he received it in the basket. The tower manager asked Si Jun what he is doing with the other 2 new items. Si Jun then said he took back about tower manager being simple, and he will give it to him later, so he should let it slide for today. He then bluffed to Si Jun that he must give him the sweet potatoes later, and Si Jun agreed. With the 2 items in his hands, Si Jun wondered what he should do with them. He decided to eat the magical cherry tomato containing the energy of the blue moon first. He started shaking as he screamed out that the freshness and sweetness can feel like a festival in his mouth. Since Si Jun consumed a magical cherry tomato containing the energy of the blue moon, his MP permanently increased by 0.05. Si Jun couldn't hold it anymore and decided to cook the sweet potatoes containing the energy of the blue moon. Since there was no tinfoil, he used the onion leaves as an alternative and wrapped the sweet potatoes containing the energy of the blue moon. He waited for the food to cook as he placed it on the fire, saying waiting for delicious food is the happiest time. When the family rabbit went out of their home, Si-jun called out to them and said it was great timing. He presented to them the cooked sweet potatoes containing the energy of the blue moon. The family rabbit was drooling as they looked at the food, but the husband rabbit stopped them. Si-jun interpreted the husband rabbit's words, that Si-jun should eat it alone since there is only one. The husband rabbit nodded. Si-jun was teary-eyed when he heard that because he was moved that the husband rabbit was thinking about him. Si-jun promised himself to never tell husband rabbit that he has already eaten it secretly alone earlier. That is so unfair of you. Si-jun peeled the sweet potatoes containing the energy of the blue moon and took a bite, but it was too hot that he dropped the food. Si-jun complained about his tongue and that it scalded his palate too. Talk about instant karma. The husband rabbit was about to pick up the food to eat it, but the baby rabbits got it first, leaving nothing behind. Same with Si-jun, they also spit out the food because it was too hot. Si-jun noted in his diary of getting lost in the tower that he ate a fiery hot meal. Si-jun instructed everyone that they will be planting sweet potato sprouts. The baby rabbits ate the sweet potato sprouts, which is why he is prohibiting them from eating it for the time being. The baby rabbits looked horrified by what they heard. The dramatic faces, I can't. The baby rabbit's favorite snack recently has been the sweet potato sprouts. They all gathered to Si-jun to complain, but he told them it would be useless. Look at them throwing tantrums. Because they have been eating it all day, there will be no sweet potato sprouts left over. He coaxed the baby rabbit by telling them they will have an even yummier sweet potato for dinner, and that if they will help him plant the sweet potato sprouts, he will be giving them some special snacks. Si-jun already decided to expand the area so he can plant more sweet potato sprouts. With the special snacks as bait, the baby rabbits agree. All of them started to grab a sweet potato sprout so they can plant it. Si-jun asked the wife rabbit who was cutting the green onion if she can leave one green onion. Si-jun can get the seeds by blooming the green onion flower, and it seems like he needs to plant seeds first so it can become an item. Meanwhile, the baby rabbit was busy digging up holes so they can plant their sweet potato sprout. Look at them doing their best. One of the baby rabbits sneakily took a bite of the sweet potato sprout and the husband rabbit smacked him on the head. I do not know if I should feel sorry or laugh at this part. On the other hand, Si-jun was busy harvesting the cherry tomatoes. His harvest skill level 2 has increased very slightly along with his job experience points. He also obtained 10 experience and Si-jun leveled up, obtaining 1 bonus stat. Si-jun's job experience is now full, so he leveled up from Tower Farmer level F to Tower Farmer level E. His job level increased and his job characteristic will also be increased. Si-jun reached level 8. He thought that at this rate, he could just harvest it. Si-jun decided it was time for them to make some snacks. A message window appeared that the tower manager was watching him, wondering what he was going to cook for today. When Si-jun turned around, the message window disappeared, but he was able to read the message. After finishing cooking the cherry tomatoes, he called out the family rabbit so they can eat the snacks. Everyone rushed to his side as Si-jun introduced the special roasted cherry tomatoes bone skewers to them. A pop notification showed that the roasted cherry tomatoes bone skewers were baked on the piranha's bones that had already been washed clean. It made the tomato sweeter and softer. At this point, I am more curious about how the piranha tastes. Everyone was amazed at the roasted cherry tomatoes bone skewers and were drooling. Please, the rabbits' reactions are just so precious. Si-jun informed them that it is easy to carry around and eat, and that they should blow it first before taking a bite since it is hot. Since the sweet potato sprouts are already planted, Si-jun told them they will dig some sweet potatoes for their dinner. Si-jun started digging a little bit for some sweet potatoes while there is a roasted cherry tomato bone skewer in his mouth. When he pulled the sweet potatoes out, he was able to get a handful of pieces of it. The message window shows that the item is called Strength Sweet Potato. Since it is cultivated in the tower, it is nutritious and tasty. When it is consumed, it will break down 10 grams of fat in the body and increases strength by 0.1 for 10 minutes. Up to 10 effects can be applied within an hour. If a non-awakened person consumed it, it will break down 10 grams of their fat and activate their bowel movement. Can I have some of that, please? He counted the sweet potatoes he harvested. He got 15 sweet potatoes, and each tree would have 5 sweet potatoes. It was good for a first harvest. Si-jun noticed sweet potato sprouts on the floor, and he immediately planted them since it would be such a waste to leave even a single potato. The message window pops out again that Si-jun planted a sweet potato sprout. His sowing level 1 effect increases the possibility of growth of the sweet potato sprouts, and his proficiency in sowing slightly increased. Si-jun was surprised that it was counted as sowing. He realized that he needs to plant all of it to increase his skill level. Immediately, he told the baby rabbit to stop what they are doing and that he would do it himself. Jun might be thinking about how many skill levels he missed because the baby rabbit planted it instead of himself. Meanwhile, the tower manager was surrounded by books as he also tried to cook the roasted cherry tomatoes bone skewers. Looks like someone is keeping an eye on our MC to enjoy some good food. When he took a bite, he spit it out because it was bitter. He was confused about why it tasted like that since Jun was eating it deliciously. After a while, he started to taste the inside and he said it was sweet, and it is delicious. The tower manager decided to watch Jun again to know what he is doing. Do not tell me he is only watching Jun now. When he looked at Jun, he was surprised because he was now roasting and eating some sweet potatoes. He was mad because Jun did it without him, the great black dragon alien for Tani. So, he is a she. She immediately gave a new quest for Jun. It was to offer one roasted strength sweet potato to the tower manager. There was no reward with death as its penalty. When Jun read the quest, he answered postpone. The tower manager urges him to give her some roasted sweet potato or she won't let him off for not giving her the roasted sweet potato. Jun pointed out that there is only one left and that there should be a reward. The tower manager revised the quest and added a job-related skill as a reward. Jun agreed with the job-related skill as a reward and he offered the sweet potato. When he opened the skill, he acquired the seed store. When the skill is activated, a product can be purchased at the seed shop once every 30 days. Jun was excited when he received the skill since he can purchase something inside the tower. He asked the tower manager why she only gave him the skill just now. He immediately activated the seed store skill. The system of the store checked if the Jun has any transaction history, and it shows that there wasn't any transaction at the moment. Jun said as a matter of fact that he doesn't have any transactions. He tried to check how to make some purchases because he doesn't have any money. Jun asked if he can do a barter. The store gave a message window saying that they are pleased to offer entry-level services to Jun. Since he became the first rookie-tier customer of the seed store, they provided him with one tower coin and it was deposited into Jun's account at the seed bank. Jun exclaimed that the seed store is so kind and it was the best. The tower coin is a currency that is used inside the tower. The market price of the tower coin is about 1 million won. He opened the store to check what he can buy from there. For the rookie tier, it will randomly show 3 types of seed. The store shows 3 random seeds that are being sold for today and only one purchase is available for his current level. The choices are 1,000 red pepper seeds, 1,000 carrot seeds, and 1,000 cabbage seeds. The price per choice is 0.1 tower coin. Just like its name, there were only seeds being sold in the store. Since it is a 0.1 tower coin, it is equivalent to 100,000 won per 1,000 seeds, so it was expensive. Jun tried to check the best item to buy. He cannot choose the red pepper and cabbage since he can't even make kimchi, so what is left is the carrots. When he mentioned the word carrot, all the rabbit looks in his direction. Jun asked what was wrong since they all called out to him. He tried to interpret their words, asking if they wanted to eat carrots. All of them have shining eyes with drooling mouths, nodding to his question. He tried to tease them by saying carrot, and all of the rabbits nodded. He keeps teasing them until a husband rabbit decided to kick him in the face. Go get it, husband rabbit. Jun purchased 1,000 carrot seeds and 0.1 tower coin has been withdrawn from his seed bank account as payment. He earned 1 seed shop mileage which can be used to raise his level. To level up, there should be 100 mileage points. Jun can try the seed store again in 30 days. When he received the seed, he pointed out that the pocket is more expensive than the seeds themselves. A message window showed up saying that the tower manager is satisfied with Jun's purchase. Jun questioned why she was the one feeling satisfied. Jun then asked the rabbit if they are ready to start planting the carrots. It all cheered happily. Jun noted in his diary of getting lost in the tower they got new carrot seeds from his first trade at a seed shop. Meanwhile, at a distance, a bee was staring at Jun and the family rabbit. A wild bee has appeared. Look at those cute eyes. Jun watched the baby rabbits playing around while the wife rabbit and husband rabbit were happily waiting for the carrots to grow while humming a song. Too much cuteness. Jun stated that it has already been days since the carrots has been planted and the seeds still hasn't sprouted, but the wife rabbit and husband rabbit has been acting like that all day in front of where the carrots are planted. He questioned himself if they like the carrot that much. He decided to take a nap and pollinate the flowers and cut onions in the afternoon. Look at the baby rabbit sleeping soundly in his tummy. With his eyes closed, he feels something flying around and he was getting annoyed. Sitting up, he grumbled why there was a bug. Then he saw a bee in front of him. It tilted its head and Jun couldn't help but appreciate its cuteness and asked if it was a monster in the form of a bug. Too much cuteness. Stop. Sejun checked the name of the bee. The name is Poison Honeybee. He was petrified when he reads the name and asked the rabbit if it was dangerous or not. When he turned around, they were already running away from the Poison Honeybee. Sejun screamed out in betrayal that the rabbits were mean since they left him alone. A message window appeared, and the tower manager informed Sejun that poison honeybees are carnivorous bees that hunt monsters with poisonous stings and eat their flesh. The stingers are very dangerous, and avoiding them is the best course of action. Sejun screamed out that doesn't make them bees anymore. Another cute but dangerous type of animal. Sejun told the poison honeybee to go away and not to come closer. He yelled out that he is not tasty, that he is nothing but bones. Begging to spare his life, Sejun has fallen to the ground. He was able to grab a stem of something and waved it to the poison honeybee while saying the bee should eat it. It was a stem of flowers. The poison honeybee was curious about the flower. When Sejun went to check what was happening, he saw the poison honeybee happily eating the pollen of the flower. He then questioned the tower manager since he thought that the poison honeybee is carnivorous. The tower manager didn't respond. Sejun realized something and told the poison honeybee that it can also eat other flowers as well if it was still hungry. The poison honeybee was happy with what Sejun said, as Sejun also added to eat to its heart's content. Sejun mischievously grinned that he doesn't need to pollinate the cherry tomatoes anymore. The family rabbit appeared and Sejun pointed out that they left him behind and now they are coming back. They tried to coax him by hugging him, but Sejun keeps saying he will keep being mad and to stop touching him. I do not even know what to say about this one. The poison honeybee went back to Sejun and he asked if it was done and if it was full. He was surprised when the poison honeybee starts to come closer than it lay on his shirt before sleeping. Sejun couldn't help but muttered it was cute, but also worriedly asks if the poison honeybee won't sting him. The poison honeybee is just too cute. Sejun noted in his diary of getting lost in the tower that they got one more family member now. Welcome to the family. It has been the 120th day after getting lost. Sejun was busy harvesting while the rabbits are tending to the fruits and sprouts. He nagged the baby rabbits to play somewhere else because he was working. Sejun watched the baby rabbits playing and said they are having a great time playing and that they have to play around when they are young. The poison honeybee landed on his shoulder as he asked if it is already done sucking all of the nectar. It has already been several weeks since the poison honeybee joined them. He asked if it was time for lunch soon, and it answered like saying yes. The poison honeybee goes to work in the morning by sucking the nectar, then return to the forest outside the cave by night. Sejun thought that maybe the poison honeybee is not going back to its group. Sejun called out to everyone that it's lunchtime. The poison honeybee started spitting out honeys a few days ago. It spit some honey on the green onion, and the message window shows that the honey onion is a sweet flavor of the freshly grilled green onion, which is enhanced by the sticky honey of the poison bee. The honey is not poisonous, right? Sejun and the rabbit couldn't help but be amazed by the taste, as Sejun say it was delicious. At first, Sejun freaked out because he thought the poison honeybee was poisonous, but he was thankful that he was able to expand the field quickly and get honey. Sejun was happy because in a few months, he would be able to eat so much honey that he won't get jealous of the bears anymore. A message window shows up saying the tower manager is happy for Sejun, but it disappeared when he turns around to check it. Sejun remembers that the blue moon is coming soon. He was worried and hoping it would go by safer this time. 121st day after getting lost, Sejun was storing the food while he was wearing his camouflage. He said that the food should be enough, and since the poison honeybee isn't coming, she must be also preparing for the blue moon. He saw the rabbits being anxious today. Sejun called out to them that it was almost time so they should get home. He was surprised when the parent rabbits start hugging the baby rabbit before running to their home, leaving the baby rabbits behind. Why did you leave the babies? The parent rabbit waved back at the babies before closing the door. Sejun screamed out why they left the babies behind like that and that the blue moon is coming. Before he can finish his sentence, the blue moon appeared. He heard growling, so when Sejun turned around to check what it was, he saw the baby rabbits becoming monsters. Literal monsters. Where are the cute babies? Sejun couldn't help but question what was going on. Sejun was frightened. He asked what was going on as he watched the baby rabbits transforming. The baby rabbits became big and monstrous, growling with sharp fangs and glowing eyes. These are not the cute babies that I know. After a while, lights surround their bodies and they went back to their cute self. Some of their ears have black on its end while one of them turned black. The cute baby rabbits are back, and they evolved too. Sejun was surprised and asked them if they became adult rabbits. He also pointed out their colors. They all answered like they are saying yes. It's the 5th blue moon since the baby rabbits were born, so it was like their coming of age ceremony. Sijun started crying because he thought something wrong happened to the baby rabbits. The baby rabbits were surprised and tried to comfort Sijun. He then grabbed them and kissed the baby rabbit as a retribution kiss. They all started running away while Sijun told them not to run. When the blue moon was finished, the parent rabbit went out and found Sijun with the rabbits sitting by the fire. They proudly hugged their baby rabbits as Sijun asked if he should prepare a coming-of-age feast for them. One rabbit raised its hand and summoned his shovel. Sijun was surprised as everyone summoned their respective item that is in their name. The white rabbit farmer sickle, white rabbit farmer cart, white rabbit farmer water can, and white rabbit farmer shovel. Sijun was amazed they can now summon items and realized that if they became adult farmer rabbits, they can have their item and he can't borrow it. Sijun asked the black rabbit what his item is and he proudly summoned a hammer. It is not a farm tool, so Sijun checked the black rabbit name. It is the warrior black rabbit. Everyone started farming and has been using their tools to help out in the garden. Sijun thanked the white rabbit cart for bringing the cherry tomato and told it to put it on the side. He was happy and touched to see that the cute babies that used to run around is now helping their mom and dad's work. Except for the black rabbit who was just eating on the side. Since he is a warrior, his job is to fight. But since there are no monsters in the cave that will endanger the farm, there is nothing to fight with. The hammer also cannot be used for farming, so they tried to think of something he can do. The black rabbit pointed out the pond and Sijun realized that hunting is also like fighting, so he can do that as his job. Sijun will lure the piranha with a torch and the black rabbit will catch the fish. He motivated the black rabbit to show him his power. As a piranha jumped out of the window, the black rabbit hit it with its hammer and the piranha went splat to the wall, the bones appearing. Sijun was too stunned to speak. Too strong. Everybody was silent as they watched the fish with his bones out. The black rabbit was ashamed while Sijun cheered him up that he will get better with more practice. Practice makes perfect. The rabbits start to get used to their roles, and on the 125th day, the seed store was reopened. Sijun was excited to know what he can purchase. The options are 10 watermelon seeds for 5 tower coins, 50 sweet pumpkin seeds for 1 tower coin, and 200 waxy corn seeds for 0.5 tower coins. He was surprised since the prices were different from the previous one. Since he only has 0.9 tower coins, he can only buy the waxy corn seeds. He was getting worried because the item might get more expensive and he won't be able to buy anything next time. Additionally, he also doesn't have any way to increase his money. To get money is by first getting rewards after clearing a floor. Even if the amount is high, the prize is rewarded only once on each floor. The percentage of the actual profits earned by hunters is not that big. The second method is by hunting the monsters and selling the monster body to the wandering merchant or the store on the first floor. This is the best source of income for the hunters because it can make continuous profits. Lastly, getting the quest and getting rewarded. The quest reward varies widely, so it is hard to tell. Among the three, clearing the floor is impossible for Sijun since he can't escape from the cave. The other way is the heist-level quest that was given by the tower manager. He called out to the tower manager and asked if she can reward him with tower coins for completing the quest right now. The tower manager replied that she doesn't know what Sijun mean, but she will give it later once he is all grown up. Sijun was confused why the tower manager doesn't know about the tower coins and asked how old the tower manager is. It replied that it was a secret. He revised his question and asked how many years he needed to finally grow up. The reply was to be at least 300 years old. Sijun screamed out that he needs to record all of the tower coins he has and his 7th generation grandchildren would be the ones to receive them. He also pointed out that his situation makes it harder for him to make a descendant. R.I.P. to your bloodline, MC. He cursed, saying he will be the one that loses if he gets angry, and he can only prioritize what he can do for his survival for now. He decided to choose the corn since it isn't a bad choice either. It is delicious to steam and grill, and he can also grind it to make flour and make something similar to bread if it's possible. He purchased the waxy corn. The 0.5 tower corn was withdrawn from Sijun's bank, and he also earned 5 seed shop mileage. The store cannot be used until 30 days. Sijun showed the corn and said it looks solid. He was about to tell them they should start working, but later on, said they should eat first. All of them are gathered and just finished eating. Sijun said he can't eat anymore and that he should dry the rest and store it. The honeybee arrived and Sijun asked if it was okay for her to not return to its home, since she's been spending a lot of time in the cave lately. The honeybee snuggled in his cheeks, so Sijun laughed, saying she is welcome to stay if she doesn't want to go back home. The honeybee sensed something and glare outside of the cave, along with the black rabbit who prepared its hammer. Sijun asked if it was a monster. Raising its paws, it said that he is not a shameless cat who is there to steal their food. Si-jun was confused about the cat and asked why he came to their cave. The cat jumped down to the cave and offered its paw to Si-jun before asking if he was the customer park Si-jun. He introduced himself as the wandering merchant, Theo. In Si-jun's diary of getting lost in the tower, he noted that he met a wandering merchant cat.